On this momentous day that Helldivers comes to Xbox officially, and the same day that ODST comes to Helldivers, we get the next up-and-coming original Warbond as well as the next big update for Helldivers 2 as a whole, now on all platforms involved. I will splice in bits from the deep dive to give you some visual aids as well. However, in terms of the story, as usual, the bugs did a totally unprovoked assault on Helldiver megacities, so we can only have the proportional response and do exactly the same. So we are going into Terminid territory, further into the Gloom than we ever had. On these Terminid Hive Worlds, they will be fully corrupted, terraformed by the Terminid bugs, and because of that, there will be many new dangers to face, including some things that they have not fully revealed just yet, even in this deep dive. So to start, there will be a cave system that we have to deal with when it comes to these various Hive World destinations. Like how we learned skyscrapers blocked out a lot of Super Destroyer ordnance when we first dropped into megacities, when we drop into the caves for the first time, we will be completely cut off from our Super Destroyers. So it'll be a lot more of a ground game this time around, as we will not be able to reach ammo supplies or additional weaponry or additional firepower without the Super Destroyer, and of course there will be openings in these caves to act as a sort of safe point or otherwise a resupply point, but aside from that, it'll be a lot more of a focused ground game, so I will see a lot more supply packs, portable hell bombs, and that sort of basically people relying on themselves and their team and not their Super Destroyer. Now, on that same note, we have additional objectives, some going directly into the caves. In terms of going into those caves, we have two different objectives, one above ground and one underground. The underground one being the Hive Lung, which is basically the spore cloud producer for the Gloom that we are tasked with destroying. Something as simple as a portable hell bomb to crack it, or otherwise just hitting it with various heavy weapons, probably lighting it on fire along the way. And then there is the mobile oil rig, which is basically a truck that we can drive on the surface of the planet, and yes, we can drive it, and it leads to a mobile deployable oil platform that we can drill into the surface and dig out extraction oils. With that same extent, there is a deployable autocannon that is on this rig, so it is not without its own defenses in addition to whatever we can bring, which we will need to defend because there is terrors from above and below coming at us on these Hive Worlds. The meme of the flying Bile Titan is no longer a meme, with the Dragon Roach, a basically flying Bile Titan that has its own acidic fire breath that there is no other way I can probably describe it. It is a flying Bile Titan. It can be driven off according to Helldivers developers at Arrowhead, but at the same time, it's probably better that we just end this threat the moment it is spotted. In addition to this terror from above, from below there is going to be special breeds of subterranean warriors, bile spewers, and chargers. The terms of warriors and chargers, they will pretty much act as they usually do, closing the gap and running at you, at this time from underground and popping out right next to you. However, with the bile spewers, they will essentially be a game of whack-a-mole because they will stay underground, pop out, spew a few acid bombs at you, and then go right back underground. So taking them out, it will be a bit annoying in comparison, but we just have to wait and make sure that we look out when the ground starts to rumble. However, they did tease a much bigger rumbling that, if everyone can expect, is probably the introduction of the Hive Lord into Helldivers 2. Existed originally in Helldivers 1 and showcased in the little concept art way in the back there. We don't have exactly a full-on view of Hive Lords, but we can see when they erupt, they make quite the dust cloud. So this is going to be quite big. In terms of solving these threats, we have the Dust Devil's Warbond, which is looking exceptionally spicy in terms of what is available. On the front page, the AR-2 Coyote, which is essentially an AK-style rifle that comes with incendiary ammunition. Should I need to say more? In addition to that, there is the G7 Pineapple Grenade, which is a cluster frag grenade, which that alone just sounds awesome. In addition to those weapons, we do have stratagems on top of that. The first being the EAT 700 Expendable Napalm, which, as would suggest, is basically the EAT anti-tank rocket plus the Cluster Bomb Airburst Rifle plus a spicy napalm dressing. So you have single-shot, single-use Cluster Bomb napalms. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I would just hope there's still 2 per drop. Then there's also the S11 Spear Gun, which is basically a harpoon launcher that launches gas clouds on impact. I would hope it can take down the biggest targets out there because, you know, the whole issue with recoil is sometimes is you hit the big target, but then there's plenty of little things right next to it. Something like a gas cloud released on a harpoon would be a perfect thing for taking out a charger, then also mopping up everything else next to it. But then lastly, and probably the most impactful, is the S11, or the MS11 Solo Silo, which is basically a dropped Hellpod missile that comes with its own laser designator handheld pistol. So you can drop it at any point, leave it behind, and then use the laser designator to strike a target from a distance. And they didn't exactly say there was a limit on how far it can go, so theoretically, if you spawn, you see a tower in the distance that you need to take out, you can drop that silo, designate it from a distance, and then that tower is gone. So I am very excited for that one. In terms of armor, it's looking like we are getting both a light and a heavy armor. I could be mistaken, could be medium and heavy, but either way, just on the visuals, that's what it's looking like. Both feature the Desert Stormer passive that grant fire, gas, acid, and arc resistance, as well as increased throw range. So a slam combination of the riot armor as well as the servo assisted armor, which I am liking the sound of that. So as always, there is a grand wrap up of everything involved in this premium Warbond. Of course, there is the armor sets, the AR2 Coyote Incendiary Assault Rifle, the Pineapple Frag Grenade, as well as the 3 stratagems I just mentioned, the Spear Gun, Expendable Napalm, and Missile Silo Designator. But then we also have patterns for various vehicles. That is looking like a Desert Rattlesnake that might have been appropriate for the Gunslinger one, but at the same time, this is still appropriate for it. But then we also have the Armor Passer's Desert Stormer, capes and player banners, an emote and Raiders Cheer, as well as the plater title of Barrier of Heads. So in total, the Helldivers are eating good. Just fresh today on August 26th, Xbox recruits are joining, as well as the ODST Warbond, and the Warbond is coming September 4th, just in the line, and the update September 2nd. So checking on the map, well, actually, I can just infer about a week later. We'll be getting 2 Warbonds within like a week, as well as a whole new update and expansion into a new platform, which is just great all in terms of Helldivers. No, when we talked about over-delivering, this is a perfect amount of extra. This is not over-delivering, this is just a healthy amount of updating. With that, my name is the Mad Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.